came out of working for a family where everyone wanted to work with you. All the agents, they wanted your business. And I didn't know what I didn't know till I got into it. And there's a big learning curve. And the driving factor for me in joining the national franchise was I had some clients say that they couldn't use our firm because we didn't have a national presence. Like that was a requirement.
Welcome back to the Lead Lamp Podcast. This time we have Laura Martin from SVN Latus, just over here in Camp Hill. So you're kind of our neighbor. Yep. So we know it's a little bit of a cheat. We know a little bit more about you than some of our other guests, but thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
So I just you know the gist of our show. We bring people on and we just want to know about your business, but we also want to know about Laura Martin. So, you've been around in the area for quite some time, and you're pretty strongly rooted in central Pennsylvania. So kind of just give us a little bit of a, brief intro to yourself and kind of where you're at.
Okay. So born and raised in Newport, Rhode Island. I do still consider that home. Two of my sisters still live there, and went to Messiah College. Now it's Messiah University.
Yeah.
So that's
how you
that's what brought me here.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And ended up, I worked for the Hortensios for many years.
The Hortensio, the same ones that have their name on the Art Center?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So Rocco just passed. I was at his funeral last week. They were very good to me, but my joke with them is, and I told all the kids that last week, that I have champagne taste and a beer budget. So kind of just fell into this. My mom was a residential realtor and put all 5 of us through private Christian colleges.
Wow.
100% of our tab. Yeah. And I was in high school. I was elected social committee director, so I wanted to go someplace where I didn't know anyone, even though I grew up on an island.
Because you were comfortable with like just starting somewhere and meeting a bunch of new people.
I was. Yeah. And so I toured Messiah and beautiful campus. And, so it was a good fit. And
that's near and dear to me because I grew up in Grantham.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, my whole life. I spent my whole first 25 years of my life in Grantham.
I didn't know that.
So like I was always in the creek down there.
Yeah.
I was always
that's a small world.
I was always down in that area. It's a beautiful area.
Yeah, it is. All 5 of us actually went to college, private colleges in Pennsylvania.
Wow.
3 went to Grove City and 1 went to Eastern.
Okay.
Yeah, and we could pick wherever we wanted. But that's where I ended up.
Well, you picked a good area.
Yeah, and then I
dear to my heart.
Stayed. And then, so I started this company in 2005.
Okay. It wasn't always SVN though?
No, it's a national franchise I joined 6.5 years ago.
Were you independent prior?
Yeah, it was more, they call it like boutique.
Okay.
And so I started in 2005. My kids were, Bryn's 2001 and Aubrey's 2003. So, they're 2 and 3. And I just need more flexibility, but I knew that I wanted to continue kind of keep my hand in doing something.
Yeah.
And so that's when I started the company. And it gave me more flexibility that I could go to school functions and things and,
you can make your own schedule.
Yeah.
Now, let's back up a little. So you went to Messiah, but you graduated with a degree in marketing.
Business and marketing.
So how did you transition from marketing to commercial realty?
Kind of fell into it. I worked for the Horse Group in Lancaster and was in their insurance department. I used to drive to Lancaster from Grantham every day, downtown Lancaster. Wow. And I applied apparently for this job with the Hortensios, and I didn't know who they were, and I checked them out, and from what I heard, they thought it was funny because I just want to make sure they're going to make payroll. So I didn't know who they were, and they were very good to me, and it was a good experience. And a lot of people I know today are from that relationship. So, so then I just needed more flexibility with the kids. It was a big job.
Yeah. And you were doing marketing?
No, I was.
You didn't really end up doing any of that?
No, I kind of ended up doing running their real estate department.
Huh. It's funny how when you graduate from college and you think you know what you want to do, and then like mine was a complete career change from what I was going to school for to what I do now, and you still take some skills with you, but it's funny how that just like diverts.
But as you age, that's how life is. You think it's going to go this certain way, and it just
Sometimes you don't even see it coming.
It's
just
rare
happens.
things turn out how you think they're going to.
Right.
I guess it's the best way to say it, just from, my reflecting back on my career. So, yeah.
So let's go back into the commercial realty side. So you started at 2005?
Yes.
And what was like the big moment where you were thinking like, this is exciting, or this is what I want to do, other than being able to create your own schedule and you have kids?
So when I worked for the enthusiast, I had a lot of control. I'm someone, let me know what you want and I'll make it happen. I will figure out a way. Like, I didn't need a lot of supervision, so I built buildings for them, and back then you could, draw blueprints and take them to the state yourself, and the laws changed. But according to one of them, I wanted to be an interior designer. I guess I liked the picking selections too much, but I loved the variety, and that no 2 days were the same, and it was just a great experience, and I learned a ton. But when I had the kids, I wasn't going to work, and then I just realized that I had to do something. I was not the type to. I'm like ADD, unmedicated, I say, and for me to sit home with crying, and it was a lot.
Yeah.
So I did part-time for a couple of years, and had an amazing nanny who came like 20 hours a week or something, and been their grandma ever since, and
Still
adopted us.
close to the family.
Yeah, we have no family locally. So yeah, so it all worked out. Yeah, it was amazing.
Nice.
Yeah.
And then obviously you've continued to grow the team. So let's kind of talk about that growth of, you're doing it, I'm assuming kind of on your own in the beginning, and then you're starting to drive that wedge in and just start to build what you have now.
Yeah.
So let's kind of walk through the evolution of the growth of your business in Central Pennsylvania.
So probably my biggest mistake, if I had to do it over again, I would have gone to work for another agency first. So I came
just to get some experience under your belt first.
Yep.
Yeah.
I came out of working for a family where everyone wanted to work with you. All the agents, they wanted your business. And I didn't know what I didn't know till I got into it. And there's a big learning curve. And the driving factor for me in joining the national franchise was I had some clients say that they couldn't use our firm because we didn't have a national presence. Like, that was a requirement. So a friend of mine, Dave Nesbitt, he was a commercial realtor and then
I know him.
Became an attorney.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was an Eagle Scout with his son.
Oh,
Doug.
well, and you guys have space that you kind of,
Yes.
yeah,
Yep.
together.
Yep.
Kind of, yeah. So he had said to me years earlier, when you're ready to grow and look at a franchise, I have one for you. And I had called him back up because I kind of made a list of who's in the area and who's not, and I couldn't figure it out. And they had changed their name. So they had gone from Sperry Van Ness to SVN. And one guy kept the Sperry Van Ness and one guy kept the SVN. So I went to a conference, and when I came back, one of the guys in my office said I drank the Kool-Aid. Because it's a big transition. You got to change your logo, your name. Like, you give up a lot of...
You came back with the hat and the foam finger thinking,
Yeah,
this is where we got to go.
I talked to probably 30 people when I was considering it. And to me, the big thing was you have to pay royalties. And I wasn't used to that. And I talked to 30 people when I was there, and not one person ever mentioned that to me when I asked about them being and then the other thing was they are so huge on other agents are not your true competition. Like, I've always believed there's enough business for everybody.
Yeah, you've told us that in the past,
really do.
Yeah.
And I believe in paying it forward. If a commercial agent called me for help, even if they weren't my shop, I would try to help them. I would. What I ran into is I would call agents around here that I thought could help me with something, and I was shocked. I can think of a couple examples where I didn't even mention the exact deal, and they knew what I was talking about. So it's like, I need a bigger platform of where I can have a resource.
Yeah. It gives you a couple extra cards in your pocket.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, I wanted to go backwards before I forget this part. You were talking about how, joining a national agency afforded you the ability to obviously get more clients and have obviously more tools in your toolbox. But you also had said you wish you had started with a different agency first before going out on your own.
Learn the basics.
But do you feel like that if you had gone that route, you might not have been
Probably.
Because you would have learned a little bit more
and I probably would have stayed.
Yeah. And sometimes when you don't know what you don't know, there's less there's less hesitation to just jump right into, all right, I'm going to do this, because you start to see kind of behind the curtain a little bit.
I do have that personality of like, no, it's not really my vocabulary.
Yeah.
Which is annoying to some people, but not to others.
But that might have worked out better for you,
to me,
not knowing.
You figure it out.
Yeah.
You figure it out.
You know what the goal is, and now you'll figure out the road to get there.
Find someone smarter than you and ask them to help you. And I did several professional designations because I felt like that was important. And I am definitely in a man's world. I'm not a feminist. I'm not a women's liberator. I believe I can stand on my own 2 feet, but I don't get invited to like the golf things or the cigar things. Not that I want to go to a cigar thing, but you get left out.
I don't want to go to a cigar thing.
I'd go drink the old fashioned, but you get left out of a lot.
Yeah.
And but I'm stubborn enough that I was going to figure out how to be successful and make it happen.
So it's probably better. Like I said, you just went into it.
School of hard knocks.
Yeah. You're going to get knocked around a little bit, but you're going to figure it out.
Yeah.
And just to highlight that, you said you're in an industry that's predominantly male, but your team
that is funny.
Very heavily female too. And
we have one guy right now.
He's probably like, oh man, I'm outnumbered, but
he is our favorite.
Yeah.
Everyone will say that.
but do you notice that adds a little bit of a different, like, especially now, I think it's a little bit less like faux pas to be in any industry, really, a leading female in an area. But do you notice that having a more female team makes a difference in some cases, or is there?
Well, like SVN, it's interesting because I guessed on the number and I was right because I called to verify it. 5% are women owners.
Okay.
Our we have the most amazing team right now. Like everyone has a different role.
They're awesome.
I know. Yeah. I love all of them, and we have a really great time. It's we've had people come and go for various reasons and aren't fits for whatever reason, and I just feel like where we are now, it's a really great. Everyone's supportive and encouraging, and we're all on the same team, and we're always trying to improve stuff, and we have fun while we're at it.
And you have a cool dynamic. Like you have Emily, who she pushes.
It's her. Yeah, she's perfect at it.
Yeah, and you can see that like that personality works well. I think with you and a couple other people out there, and Lacey. There's a bunch. You have a large team, but it's neat to see how all those different personalities, just how we work with you,
right,
with the dental group side and with the marketing side, like
right.
You have this cool cohesion of personalities where, one of them might be a little bit more aggressive with something than the other, but that's cool because it's going to end up probably, and I'm not in your daily space, but it probably pushes people just to be better in general.
We really, it has worked out better than I could have expected.
Awesome.
People would tell me I have more admin than I need, and that's probably true. But as I evaluate it, they all bring such different things. I don't want any of them to leave. Yeah,
there's a value that's not immediately perceived. It might not look good like on a payroll sheet, but that's not always perceived when you're just looking at numbers. If you start to look at, you start peeling back the layers, and that's kind of like our team and the dental group side too. Like, you start peeling back the layers and you're like, well, man, look what this person does though. Like,
I know.
It's just invaluable.
Yeah. So we've been really fortunate, and it takes a while to get that right team.
Yeah. Sometimes you bounce around a little bit, and then, eventually you start to hit that equilibrium of like, all right, this is right. I'm starting to feel.
We've hit our stride.
Yeah.
We definitely have room for more agents. We have 2 offices now. We have an office in Lancaster too.
That's recent too. Or more recent.
A year ago.
Yeah. So
we're actually relocating it on Friday, just going more central, kind of like by Belmont.
How many people are at the Lancaster office?
Well, pretty much the one girl does retail, does a lot of work in Lancaster.
Okay.
And then I just work in Lancaster. So I was trying to do like a day a week there, but it's kind of, and we have another girl out of Lancaster. So it varies.
Okay.
Yeah. The main office is here, and, you're always looking to grow, but you want the right people, or you'd rather not grow. That's kind of really where I'm in life.
Yeah.
We're not a good fit. I don't chase people. I don't want to work with people that aren't nice. Like I have kind of.
Well, you have a very, you know what you want now. So, I mean, and you're at a position where you're comfortable saying like, no, this is what I want.
Yeah.
This is what I'm going to work with.
Yeah.
So let's get back into like the fun part of this. So when you're growing SVN Latus and even prior to joining SVN, were there any moments where this is more of like a fun, just kind of see where Laura's headspace is at. Like, were there any moments where you had a deal that was coming in that you're like, oh my gosh, this is huge. I don't know if I can do this. I know your personality, so you might not have thought that, but like there had to be a couple pivotal moments where you're like, this is a hinging moment where we got to buckle down on this, just as like a business growth side.
Yeah. There have been some. The bigger challenges, I mean, well, just to answer that, like recently we just picked up a 109-acre property, but it's like 7 locations. And that was massive to wrap my head around. I heard about it right before I was leaving for Italy, so I took in September. So I took that Saturday and drove around. I had to have my X-Hunt map out. I mean, I had tax cards.
Scattered everywhere.
Yeah, and it was really challenging to figure out where are these property lines, what are we selling to price it. And so I do like a good challenge though. And so Lacey ended up doing some like 18-page custom brochure just because the zonings are all different, the prices are all different, the uses are different, what's on it is different. So that was fun.
Yeah. Want to get you into a variety.
What I've seen the last 2 years, so more than ever before, and I think I don't know why it came, and I'm not sure why it's left, but I'm glad it's gone, is like a lot of deals fell apart. You know, I had a $10 million listing. Guy wanted to buy it. So I called the seller and they're like, do you think I should talk to my attorney and CPA? I'm like, yes. And then the answer came back, it wasn't a good time to sell. I was like, oh. So it's okay. I mean, at the end of the day, my motto, I want to sleep well at night. I do the right thing by the client.
Yeah.
I have talked people out of buying buildings.
You don't want to put your client in a situation that they're going to look back and be like regretting their business decision.
A lot of agents don't care. I'm not going to lie to you. Well, I can write a book.
You can lead a horse to water.
Yep.
You can't make them drink.
So my thing in life is I'll give you my honest opinion once, even if it's not solicited, if I think it's a good purchase or not, and then I let it go. At the end of the day, it's not my decision. But I will tell you what I honestly think.
Yeah.
And if I think the rents are too high, there was a building in Chambersburg. It was like a $5 million building. And clients wanted to buy it as an investment sale. And the rents were crazy. And then I found out the owner and the builder in a lawsuit. And I was like, that's a mess. I would run from that. I think you're asking for headaches. And we were going to manage it. So it would have been extra headaches. I would have done it. I mean, I always do the right thing by the client. I would say if it's legal, moral, and ethical, that's kind of my standard.
Right.
If it's not, don't talk to me about it because it's a no, hard no. But if it is,
and that keeps not just you protected, but like you said, that when you end the day, you're not worried about, you're not worried about doing something that, like you said, will keep you up at night.
Yeah. Yep. And there's enough stuff that keeps me up at night without having any extra stuff.
I'm sure. Yeah. Just running a business alone would be enough.
Some days.
Yeah.
Some days.
Now, you were talking about the last couple years, just seeing more deals fall through. Let's kind of talk about, so we had a residential realtor on the show, on our podcast, but let's talk about kind of what you see in central Pennsylvania is from the business or commercial realty side as far as like trends right now, just, and not even like trends in the recent past. I'm talking the last 5 years, but just a bigger picture. Like, what do you see since you've started doing this till today, just trending in central Pennsylvania, Cumberland, York, Dauphin, Lancaster County?
So, two of the best things, just to backtrack a little bit, that we have done this past year, the podcasts. And matter of fact, I was at you're getting a ton of guests on too. Yeah, and I could do more a month. I mean, I have so many people lined up right now; it's ridiculous.
That's great.
But and good guests. One's going to be a lot of fun because he wants to do reverse. He wants to interview Lacey and me.
Okay.
I said, let's do it. I'm game. Pretty much,
Put you guys in a hot seat.
I'm game for anything.
Yeah.
What do I have to lose? But that has been amazing. And I ran into this guy at the Peyton Walker Gala Friday night. That was amazing at Star Bar, and it was just an amazing event. That's quite an organization.
That's an amazing group.
It's unbelievable. Yeah. And he said to me, that he thinks we've been one of the best podcasts that he's heard. And he's listened to every single one. I texted Lacey over the weekend. I'm like, you won't believe this, because it's really her. She's really. As I said, she doesn't even need me.
Yeah, she's been driving that.
She's amazing.
Yeah,
she's really amazing.
Were you at not to get off topic, but were you at the Women's Expo, the conference for women?
I was a guest of Dr. Berger.
Yes. Did you see the panel they had with Julie Walker?
I did not, because I left to go to Rocco Ortenzio's funeral. So I was gone.
It was a busy day.
It was unfortunately, that's how it goes.
Yeah.
So I left to go there, came back, and then stayed.
So, and you had her on as a guest too.
Yeah,
but
she's a friend.
The thing that I think struck me the most, well, there was a couple things. We don't need to go into that, because I teared up just because I have kids, and like she tells that story, and if you have kids and you hear that, it doesn't matter. I teared up a little. I was like, I can't hold it back. But the thing that struck me with their organization was amazing, was she's saying, like, we do all this work and we're working and working and we're constantly grinding. But every now and then she'll just get a phone call that, like, hey, like, you saved another life today. You saved a kid today.
3 of people there Friday night at this that were all recognized. And one was now she's 12-year-old girl. She was 10. Mm-hmm. At a roller rink in Enola, and Julie had placed an AED in there, and it saved her life.
It's just...
It gave me chills.
Yeah, and like, it kind of goes back to anything that you're doing, whether it's running your business or running our business or whatever you're doing. Yeah, you might not be putting AEDs in a place, but like, sometimes you lose sight of why you're doing what you're doing, and then you hear something like that, and you're like, oh,
I know.
You just gotta keep doing what you're doing, because you'll create amazing stories with it, whether you're providing space for people's businesses or whatever it is. Like, you just got to keep...
I just added her to... I do monthly giving to a lot of charities, and I just added hers because it's amazing. So impactful, so important. But part 2, so the podcast...
Yeah, sorry.
No, you're okay.
Got off track.
You're fine. I'm good with this. I can follow you. We just started a quarterly report. So we did our first one. We just published our 4th one. And they're incredible. Mm-hmm. And we're looking at 5 sectors that we're tracking.
And this is for the area, like the mid-state.
4 counties: Cumberland, Dauphin, York, and Lancaster.
Okay.
And it's amazing, just the response we've gotten, and the team does an amazing job put it together. I mean, I kind of had the idea and expanded it, but they've run with it.
And what do you cover so let them know what you cover in the report, and kind of identify any, like, are you identifying trends with what you see in?
Yes. So basically we're kind of looking at, what are kind of the demographics of the area, and then what's going on, what's happening with interest rates. And then we look at kind of the top sales in 5 sectors. So it's multifamily, office, industrial, retail, and did I say industrial? Well, anyway, 5 sectors. Anyone can have a copy of the report if they want it.
Medical?
So it's.
Was medical the other one?
No.
Okay.
Did I say 5? Office.
Office.
Medical.
Multifamily, medical, industrial. Medical. It doesn't matter. There's
Office
5.
Is medical. There's 5.
Okay.
I should know this.
Sorry.
That's what you're all good. But looking at all the sales that have happened in the quarter, and the top, if it's over a certain amount, so we'll usually list about 2025.
Okay.
And just looking at trends of what's going on with absorption of square footage, and what are rental rates, sale rates. So that's been those have been the 2 huge things we've done this year that I think really set us apart from anybody else.
And what are you noticing now that you're doing them in our area? Like, in a 10-year picture and in a smaller, like, 1-year picture?
We are so stable here because we have the capital. So we do not see fluctuations other places see. We don't see the highs, we don't see the lows. We're kind of, because they're such a huge employer.
Yeah. When I feel like when you see on a national level or even kind of a regional level, like Northeast, when you see these big fluctuations in markets, not just real estate, just in general, employment, whatever, like, you see these big swings in business or just any industry. But then our area kind of does this. Like, there's a big swing, and in our area we'll swing up, or there's a big swing down. And for the most part, we're, like you said, we're stable. There are some fluctuations, but I feel like there's some padding around central Pennsylvania that's odd, that it doesn't see, and even like back in like 09, 10 was a terrible time for
Right.
employment. But like
Right.
when you looked at the employment numbers from our area compared to some other areas in the country, like
Yes.
it was much more insulated.
Yeah. And we're more spread out too, than a lot of, markets that usually get tracked. Mm-hmm. So,
It's a weird area. Like
yeah, but
economically, it's a strange area too. It's like
yeah.
it's not a primary market. It's
Yeah.
this weird, like,
Yes. So the goal for me, both with the podcast and these quarterly reports that we're now doing, and we just published Monday, the third quarter, is we're trying to get that out sooner than most people, things like that, but is to be educational, informative, interesting. So that's kind of our goal. When I've asked people to be on podcasts, a lot of times that comes up, like, well, what do you talk about? What do you do?
Yeah.
Like, what do you want to talk about? Like, I'm open.
Do you find, let's talk about your podcast. Do you find that it's better to kind of shoot from the hip on some of your podcasts?
Well, it's interesting.
Or does it depend on the guest?
So typically, I know the guest.
Yeah.
And if I don't, I'm meeting with them ahead of time.
Okay.
So that's my personality. Is I like a lot of information, a lot of knowledge. I'm good at cold call walking in and just being at a party and talking to people all night about anything and being happy and engaged. But when I just like that, I want to know some things about them. Mm-hmm. Excuse me. And, Lacey, she's just such a consummate pro. The girl's like a freaking reporter. She can just do anything, anywhere. She pretty much runs the show. I mean, I kind of pick the guests, and then she handles the rest.
You let her loose, and
I trust her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's awesome with just with things we've worked with her on. It's very detailed.
Yeah, she's very talented at what she does. So I'm kind of I can be an idea person. I'm just not much of an implementer. So
I know a couple people like that. Yeah.
My first podcast guest.
Probably.
Oh my gosh, so funny. Yeah, but I love that.
But I think you're very similar to what you might not like that I compare that, but it's a very similar setting where you have an idea and you have a team of people around you that can just implement it.
Yeah.
It might not end up being exactly what you envision,
Right.
but it's close.
It's usually close
and
enough.
it's usually not, if it's not 100%, and that's kind of,
Okay.
we're in a similar situation with our CEO where you'll see like big idea, like this is what we got to do. And it's usually a good idea. Sometimes it doesn't quite hit the final vision of what was initially thought of, but there's usually like, there's some kind of
so entrepreneurial
physical limitation to what we can do or whatever. Right. And you have to take that in any situation. You kind of take that.
And we are reasonable people.
Yeah. And if you come to me and if you had an idea, and I'm sure you're the same way.
Yeah.
If there's an idea that needs to be implemented, we all agree that it's got to be done. But we say like, hey, you wanted this and you can have all this, but this little chunk here, like that is just, it's just not feasible.
Yeah.
It can't. Not that it's impossible, but maybe that's something we add later.
Yeah.
But for now, to get this done,
well, when
here's 80% of it.
We named our podcast. We were at the it was the event for being one of the fastest growing companies, top 50.
Oh yeah.
Last year, and we were all sitting around and they had gotten us all a glass of prosecco and we just started throwing out names, and that's how we figured it out that night. I love doing things like as a team. And we meet once a week, and I tend to meet individually with everybody. But just here's what I'm thinking. What do you think? And then I want to hear. Like I do want to hear what they have to say. I may not listen, but I want to know, and I will take it seriously under advisement. So I want people to like come into work and enjoy working there. Like that's important.
Yeah. So what's the most valuable part of takeaway, your team, takeaway, what you do, but like for you, what's the thing that keeps you ticking and keeps you moving through just every day in Central PA? I
personally love helping people. And I love thinking outside the box. I think that's one of my gifts. So a lot of my stuff I do is off market, because it's like, you're interested in that and they have that.
And you know this person.
Let me see if I can pull this together.
Yeah.
So I do a fair amount of that. And to me, that's very rewarding. I like helping people. And like I had been, a lot of my clients are past or referrals, and from attorneys, CPAs, or past clients. And so actually a neighbor had referred me to this group, and I met with them on a Sunday when their business was closed, and they really weren't ready to do anything. And I was going to consult and had set them a fee. That guy actually reached out and asked me what he owed me, because they realized after talking to me, they were not ready to make a decision. I'm like, you don't owe me anything. Like, that's my business. Like,
right.
I was glad to do it. And
you were doing the right thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah. And we've run into that on the marketing side where we were just talking about this the other day. Sometimes you'll get a client and there's just a limitation to what you're working on, and whether it's something that they have that it just won't work or whatever it is. And you'll get farther being honest with them and just saying, like, here's what's going on. You lay it out and you just say, like, this can't happen because of X or whatever it is. And you just say, like, I can't take anything from you, right, because, we did what we did, and we feel comfortable just saying, like,
yeah,
how do I want to word this? Sometimes you feel better just doing the right thing. They got some value out of it, but you can walk away and both parties are happy.
I kind of call it like paying it forward, like trying to help another human being if you have a skill that they need. Like, I just helped a friend negotiate a big lease. And it was kind of complicated, but there was no room for me to be in the deal. And I'm sure that other agent got a 6-figure commission, but you know what? I like helping people. I like being challenged. I like trying to figure out.
Well, and you never know when it's going to come back. Like, you provided value, and maybe you didn't see that today.
It makes me better and sharper at what I do.
Yeah.
So I just think that we can. I still always try to learn. Like, I'm heading to Texas next week to take a class. Like, I think you have to just continually be learning and continually be open to. Well, things have changed so much too, like technology.
When if you're stagnant, you're gonna get past quick, and it doesn't slow down. It's not getting slower. It never gets slower.
Yeah.
So
I don't want that.
Yeah.
For me.
I mean, in our world, we see the technology side of it, and it's just if you don't keep changing your methods, basically, you'll get left behind.
You have to.
Yeah. I'm sure that's the same in every industry. No industries. Yeah. Everyone likes to say, like, oh, well, my industry is different or my business is different, but you're not.
Very rare.
It's not. Yeah.
It's rare. Yeah. So I just try. I mean, kind of my motto is just to be nice to everyone and treat people how I want to be treated. And if I don't think there's a fit, I would be honest with someone. I don't like having hard conversations, but sometimes they're necessary. And but I try to do it with kindness and not be offensive to anyone. And
well, and like you said, you just don't know. You don't know when it's going to come back. Like, you're paying it forward.
Right.
If you're honest with people, you don't know. 5 years down the road, that person's going to look at you differently than if you treated them poorly. Right. And they could always come back and, bring in more business or help you in a different way that might not be business related. You just don't know. Outside of even work, you don't know when that person's going to appear in your life again.
Right.
And if you're nice to them and you were honest, it could come back around in many different ways.
And this town's small enough.
People talk,
and things do cycle back. Like, you're right. Every couple of years.
Well, and people find out, like, whether you're a rock star or you're not, and so and so tells another person, "Oh, I worked with Laura; she was great," and that slowly starts to spread in our area.
They say that it's. I try to remind myself of this because I ran into someone the other day across a room, and he said hello to me by name, and I'm like, and I have no idea who that was. But that it's not who you know, but who knows you in my industry. That's the key. So I like what I do. I like that no 2 days are the same. I could not just sit at a desk all day. It's not.
I take that offensive. I take offense to that. No.
I'd be stir crazy.
I think for us it's different though. Like, we got a lot of people that, I mean, we stare at monitors.
You have fun
all day.
Yeah.
We're looking at TV screen or monitor screens, but like, I mean, that's what drives, I think, me, because I'm not much different from you, I think, with mindset of like, if I see a problem somewhere, I'm going to drive into it, and I'll be up late writing code or doing whatever, because I will lay in bed if I don't, just thinking about what is going on with that.
Right.
So for me, you know, that it's the same kind of drive. It's just, you know, I could sit and do it for 6 hours straight at a monitor, where that would drive you nuts.
Yeah.
But
I can't sit still though.
Similar drive, but it's just a different,
Yeah.
you know, different avenue.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. Well, I want to ask you about one more thing and the history of it. And then I've just always been intrigued. I don't think I've ever asked you, but how did you come up with, or what was the inception of the PA Creek Cam? I got to know how that started.
Do you know how many people told me I shouldn't do that? I have so many naysayers in my life.
I think it's
I had
cool.
to weed them out.
I mean, I had to help fix it once or twice with the website, but what was like, how did that start?
It's that marketing side of me.
Yeah. When it's a beautiful view.
Oh my gosh. And I could walk home. I would say I live down at the Ducks and I work up with the Eagles.
Nice.
And it is a funny story though, because I asked for permission and I was thinking, you know, it would be like this big. Well, it came and it was like one of your grandmother's old hair dryers. I mean, the thing is,
it's like the big security camera.
It's like the big bread machine that used to look like RD2T or whatever his name was. And they came, the lift wasn't high enough, and you had just redone that building, and here I'm putting a hole in the building. It was just, I was so nerve-wracked. But I like things that just set you apart and are really unique.
It's purple. What's that called? It's the purple cow.
Yeah, because people are like, I'm like, you know, it makes me happy. I'm sitting on the beach in Aruba and it's snowing here, and I'm like, oh, look what's going on.
Yeah.
Because that thing, 24/7, you can see the cars and the. I love it.
Yeah, and I checked it. I always check it when we get a ton of rain, because I like to see. It sounds weird to me, but it's kind of like when people they got to look at like the car accident. So I'm always like, oh man, we got a big rainstorm. I want to see what the creek looks like.
Yeah.
But it was interesting too when they replaced that bridge.
We moved it to follow you to watch.
Yeah, it shifted slightly so you could follow.
But I have a question for you, because didn't the engineer put a time lapse camera on the building? Where's that video?
I've never seen it.
I haven't.
They asked us to use it. They asked us on that little deck we have to put a camera up.
I know, because I was considering doing that. I go, no, they're doing it. I don't need to do it. Film is gone.
Somewhere.
Yeah.
So,
That's
I mean,
too
I
bad.
don't know.
Because that was a pretty cool project.
We did a time lapse at Search Dental.
You did?
Well, I saw what camera they had.
Okay.
So I went and bought one, and we bungeed it basically to a pole at Search Dental at Waterford, and did a time lapse of that one.
I saw drone work you just did there. I guess Tyler did it. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you need more
That's
drone.
a gorgeous building.
That's a hard one. That's like a flagship building.
Yeah. But Dr. Verber's so entrepreneurial, and he does have a flair for, I mean, as he's bought and renovated places, it's amazing how they look.
Did you see the new, we're getting way off track. Did you see the
okay, I'm
new
good with
Knoll
that.
lobby
No.
down in Carlisle?
No. So I put Bethany I put them in next door, but no, I haven't.
She did a great work in that place before she moved in looked like crap.
Crazy. It's hard to believe
disgusting looking. Yeah.
how it all came together. She actually has a really nice.
It's beautiful in there now.
I've actually gone there for services.
Yeah. You should go see the new Knoll entrance. It's pretty wild.
I will.
From what it used to look like till now, like it went from like very 90s wallpapery looking, and now it's spectacular.
Because that was a practice you guys acquired.
Yeah.
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 So.
All right.
Yeah, good.
But so I was just interested in the Creek Cam. It is like I said, it's like a purple cow almost when you have something that's unique that has nothing really to do with
I know
what you do, but it does attract people to your name.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And there is a weather guy who uses it.
Oh, he'll like tap into it and.
Well, I should talk to you about this. You're the technical people. I need people like you in my life because I'm not technical. If somebody doesn't work, I'd call somebody. But I don't know. Somehow it's not. The plug and play is not what he needs, but he still uses it. I don't quite understand all that.
Oh, he probably pulls it up on a feed.
Yeah. And it gives us credit.
These guys will tell you how he does it.
Yeah.
It's like a OBS type thing where they can pull up a screen and then put it up on their broadcast.
It's funny. When I made the decision that I wanted to do that, and the owners of that building are so gracious and pretty much let me do what I want, which, I mean, I treat things nicely, but they're very generous with me. But I had the hardest time finding someone to stream it. I ended up hearing about a bald eagle cam, hunted that down, tracked them down.
Was it the one over in Harrisburg?
I think it was in New York.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's been a while, but I ended up tracking this company down and talked to them into streaming it. But some of those things are like, I'm surprised how challenging some things are in life.
Yeah.
I wouldn't think. Now, maybe it's gotten better because that camera's been there 8 years, maybe.
Yeah, it's probably a little easier now. You can probably do it on your own now, but
Not me, but
well,
you.
you can find someone to help you do it on your own.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
nice.
so far it's good. It's good. Supposedly it can move, but I try not to. But it is funny the times I'll get something happen in the parking lot, like a fender bender or something. Do I have a camera? Or something happened down. There was a crazy incident down the bridge Nancy and I watched one time. It was like out of a police show. It was people dropping, I guess, I don't know what.
In the creek?
Into the creek, like drugs, and they had hit someone, and the person they hit was in their car.
And you had a perfect aerial view of the whole
But
thing.
I didn't record it. I don't record.
Yeah.
So I was like, so we couldn't solve that mystery as much as we want to.
Dang.
Yeah, it's pretty quiet over there, but
And it's fun though.
I love the location.
This time of year was pretty, if you check it, because you got all the colors, or you did.
Yeah.
It's probably starting to turn pretty
Yeah.
brown and dead looking now. But a couple months, you get some snowstorms. It's pretty across that valley. And
it's
amazing.
I should talk to Verber because he'd probably do it and I could use it. But in the spring, when it's green and lush, I want to take a drone off the roof and take it down the creek like the helicopters do.
We could have Tyler help you.
See?
Yeah.
All right, put that on your list.
As long as it's safe to fly there, or these guys are all
I
drone.
think the
These guys are all drone certified.
I had a drone. I've flown around in the office and I flew at my backyard. But then I heard you got to be like freaking certified. So I'm like, oh, forget that.
It depends on what you're doing.
Yeah. Well, for work.
Probably safer for work. Just have the certification.
Yeah. So, and it's outdated now, but
Yeah.
it was fun.
All right. You can't go wrong there. You could literally, you'd have to be a dummy to snap a
there's
ugly
nothing-
picture from
Yeah.
where that
Exactly.
is.
I had also wanted to do like the skyline of Harrisburg because I just think it's so beautiful. But apparently there's all kinds of restrictions and it's a big deal.
You'd be surprised. They have the apps you can pull up and you
All right,
can
we
just
got to
see.
talk.
All right.
We'll talk offline.
All right. Well, hey, I loved having you on.
Thank you.
Obviously, we love working with you, and you have a great team. But I appreciate
do
you
too.
sharing, your story.
Thank you.
I learned that you know about Grantham, and Grantham's special to my heart just because I was a kid and I grew up bumming around in Messiah College, and in the summer they have that whole nature trail back there now, and in the summer I would go back and just putz around in the woods and
It's a gorgeous
hang out in the
campus.
creek. The creek is like dear to me too, just because I lived in that creek for a long time, basically.
It's a great place to grow up.
So, all righty. Well, hey,
Thank you.
I appreciate you coming on,
Guys,
sharing your
and
story.
team.
Yeah.
Great team.